Hey, folks. Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast live stream. Coming to you a little bit later today. Apologies for that. Had a very busy day, but a very busy day also in the world's most chaotic, strategic, and volatile region. We're talking, of course, about the Middle East. Some big developments this week, and including today, surrounding Iran's military buildup. Now, you might say, Stakelbeck, wait a minute. The Iranian regime has been smashed, bashed, thrown around, them and their proxies over the past few months. They've been weakened. Absolutely. I've been driving that point home practically every day here on the live stream. But we've also said, you know, my refrain, evil is relentless. A few qualities of evil, if you can call them qualities. Evil is arrogant, evil is foolish, evil is relentless, meaning when you're driven by demonic evil, and your sole rationale for being, the entire reason for your existence is to maim, murder, kill, and destroy, as is the existence of Hamas, Hezbollah, the Iranian regime, etc., then you're never going to stop until you're completely, utterly, decisively destroyed. Well, we're clearly not at that point yet with Hamas, Hezbollah, or the Iranian regime. You could say close, perhaps, with Hamas and even Hezbollah. But the Iranian regime still has some fight, needless to say, and more than some left in it. And look, they've absolutely taken lumps, and they've taken so many lumps, and they've been really hit, and they've become more vulnerable than they have been in 46 years. By the way, quick reminder, Iran this month is marking the 46th anniversary of the 1979 Iranian Revolution. I would argue right now, these ayatollahs who've run that country into the ground and brutalized their own people for 46 years, right now they are weaker than ever before. And they know it. And that's why quickly, key word there, quickly, they're trying to bolster their arsenal once again. That includes drones. And look, they fancy themselves as a drone superpower. That includes ballistic missiles. That includes puffing out their chests, threatening Israel and the U.S., showing complete defiance, complete obstinance in the face of threats against, you guessed it, their crown jewel, their nuclear weapons program. So Iran here, instead of, it's like an animal when they're cornered, I guess you would say, they're lashing out. The thing is, although look, they've still got an arsenal, no doubt. And as I'm about to outline for you, that they're trying to build it, and with no doubt foreign help, China, Russia, North Korea, the other members along with Iran of that gathering storm coalition, as I call it. But at the end of the day, remember this: their proxy network has been smashed. The Ring of Fire, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, etc., the militias in Iraq, Assad in Syria, he's gone. So that Ring of Fire has turned into a smoldering heap of ruins, as I like to say. Not only that, on October 26th, Israeli counterattack destroys Iran's air defenses. So, yeah, they've still got a lot of bite, no doubt, but they also are vulnerable, and they know it. And that's why they are projecting power this week. It's kind of, you could say, in a sense, have you ever heard this term? It's all smoke and mirrors, in a sense, in that, man, Iran seems awful strong. Whoa, they've got this drone arsenal, ballistic missiles. Wow, a mighty ring of fire. Whoa. But is a lot of this just smoke and mirrors? When the rubber hits the road, are they just a paper tiger? Now, that's a question I pose to you. What do you think? Because as I'm about to outline for you, they would say, no way. We're the real deal. We're tough, and you dare not cross us. That's what Iran's regime is saying to the U.S., to Israel, and to the world. But is that legit? Is it really credible? Are they just a paper tiger? Are they, as Israel certainly believes right now, ripe for the picking? And not only their nuclear program, by the way, which I believe, you've heard me say it, I'll say it again, I believe 2025 is the year of reckoning for Iran's nuclear weapons program. Folks, this is it. Either they are going to break out and announce we've got the bomb, we're a nuclear power, or you'll turn on this live stream one fateful afternoon, and I'll say, hey, everyone, Israeli fighter jets are in the skies and they're bombing Iran's nuclear sites as we speak. I think either way, we're going to know. I'm not saying that act, the airstrikes or Iran breaking out, will happen this year, but we'll know by the time this year ends which way the winds are going to blow when it comes to that nuclear program. So it's all coming to a head. And we also may know if Iran's regime will survive. And that's another reason to project power. Number one, you're trying to stave off any possible attack against your nuclear facilities. But number two, you want to hang on to power. And they're vulnerable right now. They know it, and we know it. And certainly the U.S., Israel, the free world knows it, how vulnerable the regime is. So they're going to do everything they can. There's going to be a whole lot of bark, not a lot of bite, but a whole lot of bark as they try to convince you that there's bite behind the bark. And they're trying to deter. The problem is, again, their main means of deterrence was that ring of fire. And that ain't much of a deterrent anymore. Even their air defenses knocked out. So what do you do? What do you do when you're a rogue regime, a tyranny that's on the ropes? Again, you lash out and you try your best to project strength to the point where you threaten new direct attacks against Israel. True Promise 3, as the Iranian regime is calling it. True Promise Part 1, April 13th, 2024. Iran unleashes 300 projectiles, ballistic and cruise missiles, and drones at Israel. Israel intercepts 99.9% of them. Miraculous. Miraculous. The hand of God protecting Israel, a divine iron dome, as I call it. Israel's response, measured, limited. They struck a site at Natanz, where a nuclear facility lies, more to send a message. That was a few days later. Israel responded again, back in April. Fast forward, after Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah, the Hezbollah leader, is killed in late September. On October 1st, Iran launches the largest ballistic missile attack in military history, which they are crowing about, by the way. They think that's something to be very proud of, even though those 200 ballistic missiles, the vast majority of them were intercepted, fell into open fields. Minimal damage was caused. Now, in both attacks, one of the interesting and sad things, the April 2024 attack and the October attack, it was Arabs. No Israelis were killed, no Israelis were injured. The only people who were seriously wounded was a little Bedouin Arab girl back in April. And an Arab man in Jericho was killed in October. But not one Jewish Israeli was killed, wounded, other than maybe a few injuries of people running to bomb shelters, but not from debris, from shrapnel, from the missiles themselves. That's a miracle, folks. Listen, 500 missiles, cruise, ballistic missiles, and then drones, 500 in all between the two attacks, and no one was killed or injured. And you're telling me that's not the God of Israel? The God of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. There's your proof. That is an absolute miracle. And I've said this since October 7th. God Almighty, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel, has gone ahead of Israel time and time again, ahead of the IDF, ahead of the people of Israel, helping Israel to score and to secure these massive victories, improbable victories, miraculous. Operation Exploding Pager, how do you pull that off? What Israel did to Hezbollah back on September 17th and 18th? There needs to be a movie made about that. Maybe I'll write it, who knows? But in all seriousness, only God, with what Israel's mere survival today, and we've talked about this many times, Israel's rebirth in 1948, its survival today. Let's put it this way. When Israel was reborn as a nation back in 1948, it got a whole lot harder to be an atheist, because the continued improbable, against all odds survival of the world's one and only Jewish state is proof of God's survival. How else do you explain this tiny nation, the size of the state of New Jersey, continuing to not only survive, but to thrive, as all of its enemies want to destroy it, as again, it's tiny geographically, as it is home to the most persecuted people in the history of the planet? How do you explain it? You know, the writer Mark Twain talked about it. I'm paraphrasing, but something similar to what I just asked. How to explain the Jew, the survival of the Jewish people? Mark Twain in the 1800s wrote about it, second half of the 19th century. He marveled at it. Only God, whether you like it or not. Sorry to all the Jew haters, all the anti-Semites. As someone once said, I think it was Dennis Prager, who I love, God chose them. Deal with it. Sorry, but that's God's plan, and that's the people who he has fulfilled covenants through, who he sent the Messiah, Jesus, through. And look, God has a great plan for the church. I'm a Gentile follower of Jesus. I'm a Christian, a Gentile Christian. And God has a great plan for the body of Christ, which I'm a part of. And he also has a great plan for Israel, prophetically. The two aren't mutually exclusive. God, he's a very big God. He can have an incredible plan for the land of Israel, the Jewish people, prophetically, and an incredible plan for his church. And we're grafted in as believers to Israel. Read Romans 12, 11 and 12. The Apostle Paul lays it out. So that's your theological aside, I guess. But we want to get into this True Promise 3 that Iran is threatening. We want to get into their new drone arsenal that they've unveiled, and also ballistic missiles. A lot to talk about, and these massive war games. Quick reminder to subscribe, click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. If you like breaking news, current events out of the Middle East, but we hit all around the world too, but chiefly Israel, Middle East related. And from an unapologetically biblical perspective, imagine that. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. And we're here most weekdays, sometimes on the weekends, depending on the news cycle. We'd love to have you with us. Quick reminder, if you are a Watchman fan, remember, we've got that Watchman merch by popular demand. A lot of people have been asking for it over the months. Well, guess what? We finally got it. We've got hoodies, hats, mugs, some other cool stuff, t-shirts. It's shop.tbn.org, and we're actually offering right now a 50% discount off of all of that Watchman merch. Really good stuff. And if you're a supporter of the channel, make sure to check it out. Take advantage of the 50% discount. Again, it's shop.tbn.org. Now, I don't expect the Iranian regime to be ordering any Watchman gear. Just saying. But they are, and this is their MO, they're making new threats. You might yawn and say, we've heard it all before, but let me caution you on this one. Remember, after October 26th, I mentioned this a few minutes ago, when Israel destroyed Iran's air defenses, Iran threatened to strike back, but they never did. Because in the immediate aftermath of October 26th, when Israel was done, and remember, that was about 100 Israeli fighter jets in the skies operating with impunity for about 3 hours. They all returned to Israel unscathed. In the wake of that, Iran said, we're going to hit you back. We'll get our revenge. And they never did, because in the immediate aftermath, they surveyed the damage and they said, uh-oh, they destroyed our air defenses. Now, if we fire another 200, 300 ballistic missiles at Israel, they're going to respond next time, probably by hitting our nuclear sites. And we don't have any air defenses to defend against it. So they've held off on Operation True Promise 3, but maybe not for too much longer, according to this Iranian commander, Brigadier General Ali Fadavi. He is second in command for Iran's elite Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, the IRGC for short. And here's what he said. I'm just reading this straight off my phone. He's announced that Iran will indeed retaliate for Israel's, quote, recent actions at a time of its choosing. He said, True Promise 3 will be carried out in due time. And we have acted correctly for 46 years, according to this IRGC commander, and we will keep doing that with God's help. Responding to the Zionist entity's attack is inevitable and certain. However, the circumstances, timing, and form of this response will be determined based on the appropriate conditions. And any Israeli attack on Iran's nuclear facilities would be met with immediate retaliation. He called it a red line. So what do you think of that? To me, Iran is not going to attack, you would think, never say never. Expect the unexpected in today's Middle East, needless to say, but would they really attack now with the Ring of Fire in tatters, with Trump back in office, maximum pressure campaign starting back up, with their air defenses destroyed? Now doesn't seem to be the time to pick a fight with Israel directly, especially when folks' chatter has reached a fever pitch about Israel and or the U.S. striking Iran's nuclear facilities. So I'm not sure now's the time Iran wants to pick that fight. But I would not look, if their nuclear facilities are not hit, you can't rule it out. And the Iranian retaliation, by the way, Operation True Promise Part 3, as he calls it. Remember, prior to those April and October 2024 barrages, Iran never attacked Israel directly. Never had Iran attacked the state of Israel directly, meaning rockets, drones, missiles launched from Iran at Israel. It was always through proxy. Rockets, missiles launched from Syrian soil, from Gaza, from Lebanon, Yemen, etc. So April, October, that was unprecedented, those two attacks. So will True Promise Part 3 be something more akin to that? A direct attack from Iranian soil? Man, that seems risky. Or would it be back to the old MO, maybe attacking through proxy, or maybe even more likely, the real solid option Iran used to exercise, attacking targets abroad, attacking, God forbid, Israeli and Jewish interests abroad. We're talking consulates, we're talking embassies, we're talking synagogues, Jewish community centers, we're talking Jews just minding their business. That may be what Iran is. We don't know what form this Operation True Promise, as he called it, would take, but those are some options. So I thought that was noteworthy because since October 26th, when Israel took out those air defenses, we haven't heard a peep from Iran about revenge. We did in the beginning, and then they said, uh-oh, yeah, this ain't good. But now all of a sudden he pulls that out again. And why? Because they are trying to create deterrence through threats. And it used to work, but it's not going to work anymore because Netanyahu knows that Israel now has the upper hand, clearly. And Donald Trump is not Joe Biden, and he's not Barack Obama. So it's not going to work in this case. But nonetheless, you've got the verbal threats, and you also have war games, major war games this week. They kicked off on Monday. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps introduced a number of new drones during large-scale war games on Monday. The drills come as Iran works to shore up its strength in the face of threats from the U.S. and Israel. The drill is called Great Prophet 19, taking place in southwestern Iran, the southwestern province of Khuzestan, and it features Iranian-made drones for surveillance and precise fire control, according to the IRGC. The drill aims to evaluate the effectiveness of defense plans against possible attacks, among other objectives. It's all about defense right now for them, folks, because they know the year of reckoning is here, and their nuclear sites may be targeted. During the drill, Iran unveiled 7 new kamikaze and reconnaissance drones. Now, kamikaze, we call them suicide drones. It's you pack a drone with explosives, you fly it into a target. They've supplied thousands of them to Russia as well, by the way, that Russia has used in Ukraine. So 7 new drones, because Iran sees itself as a drone superpower, as we've detailed here on the channel. They make these all domestically. They're mass produced in Iran. And again, they're helping Russia to a major degree with that. The IRGC also unveiled a drone able to carry various combat weaponry, including anti-armored vehicle, anti-personnel carrier vehicle, and bunker buster bombs. Interesting. And last week, we reported they unveiled a new jet-powered suicide drone that can be launched underwater. We talked about that last week. They're heavily publicizing this drill that they're conducting right now in southwestern Iran, unveiling drones, ballistic missiles as well. Again, for one reason and one reason only, to deter. God willing, they would say, for them, deter Israel and the U.S., make Israel and the United States think twice about striking the nuclear sites. It's so obvious what's happening here. And again, this is not Joe Biden. It's not Kamala Harris. It's Donald Trump and his administration. It's a much different story. They're not going to be deterred by this. Bibi certainly is not going to be deterred by this. If anything, Israel wants to put its foot on the gas and finish the job of taking out. And Bibi, I think, used those very words on Sunday after meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Like, we're going to finish the job here. Their nuclear sites, eventually, one way or the other, they're going to be hit. And we had the commander of Iran's aerospace force. Yes, they really have one. Yesterday, talking about the ballistic missile, and here it is, the boasting. He's talking about that October attack. The world's largest ballistic missile operation was carried out by the Islamic Republic of Iran, he boasted, and this demonstrates our power to defend our people. Really? The entire attack was repelled, but nonetheless, still boasting. Evil is boastful, evil is arrogant, evil is relentless. But I think the moment of reckoning is here. And, I interviewed today my friend Eli Kohanim, who worked under the first Trump administration. She was the deputy envoy for combating anti-Semitism under the first administration, worked for the U.S. government. And you can see it actually tomorrow night that airs on Stakelbeck Tonight. Reminder, if you love the YouTube channel, you will love my nightly show on TBN, Stakelbeck Tonight, every weeknight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with a re-air at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on TBN every Monday through Friday night. Check it out. And we talk about these issues and much more. But Ellie told me, look, and I agree with her, Trump right now is saying, okay, I'm a man of peace, trying to solve these conflicts through peaceful means and avoid military action. He's applying maximum pressure to Iran right now, meaning sanctions out the yin-yang, and to the point where Iran is not able to export any oil. Translation, Iran's economy will be crippled because oil is the lifeblood of their economy. And Trump is saying, if even that, the complete crippling of their economy, if even that does not dissuade them from nuclear weapons, if they don't throw their hands up at that point and say, Mr. President, we're giving up our nuclear program. We don't want our economy in tatters. We don't want the regime overthrown as a result. No more nukes. Trump said, if that doesn't happen, even after we strangle them economically, then all bets are off. But one thing's certain, there will be no nuclear program in Iran. And the most likely recourse there would be Israel strikes with support of the United States. In the very least, an enthusiastic green light from the Trump administration to Israel, or perhaps cooperation. Certainly, and we talked about this on the live stream last week, certainly Israel would need help with mid-air refueling, perhaps some 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs the U.S. could supply. Will you see U.S. fighter jets in the air bombing Iran? I don't think so. I think it would just be active support, logistical, and every which way for Israel to do what needs to be done. But Trump is saying, look, if you don't give up your nuclear program, if you don't bow to our economic maximum pressure, then we're going to unleash Israel and perhaps even unleash some U.S. forces. We're going to destroy your nuclear facilities. Basically, Iran is giving them, Trump is giving the regime one last chance. Do what Gaddafi did in 2003 in Libya. He unilaterally gave up his nuclear program. And Trump saying to Iran, if you don't do that, we will unleash hell. So that's where we're at. And that's why you can see why I call this the year of reckoning. And Iran, again, they're going to continue to try and build up their arsenal. We reported yesterday as well, they're trying to rebuild their proxies. They're working with Turkey, surprise, surprise, to funnel money to Hezbollah in Lebanon, trying to build Hezbollah back up. Right now, Hezbollah is licking its wounds. The IDF withdrew from most of Lebanon yesterday. They're keeping a buffer zone there, but Hezbollah is in bad shape. By the way, if you miss any of our videos, just check it out in our archives under every videos every day, under videos or live streams. It's all there, newscasts, and be sure to subscribe while you're there. But man, there's never a shortage of things to talk about in the world's most prophetic region, the Middle East, how it affects you no matter where you live. Hey, we live in Bible times, so fasten your seatbelts, keep it right here. We will continue to bring you the in-depth and hopefully very soon, once again, on the ground analysis from Israel. I look to get back to Israel very soon. It's been a little while for me. I'm usually in Israel at least 3-4 times a year. So I'm going through withdrawal right now from my second home. Can't wait to get back to Jerusalem soon. And when I do, you will be the first to know. But in the meantime, thanks for joining us today. God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.